creepy and cool TikToks that will blow your mind. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond.
Dude, me too. So what's the problem?
The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore.
Oh. Well, what happened to it?
We used to, but we destroyed that technology.
Well, why don't you just build it back again?
And it's a painful process to build it back again.
When you said that just now, did it sound stupid to you?
Kind of.
All right, so let me get this straight. The reason we haven't been back to the moon since 1969 is because we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it again?
I haven't seen anything that indicates the telemetry data is even in existence, and as I said, even if we had it, we don't have the machines to play it back.
So in 50 years, we've gone from the rotary phone to the smartphone that can film in beautiful 4K. We can stream movies while ordering tacos in 10 seconds, but rebuilding a 1960s rocket is just too hard?
Right, we've been unable to track it down. I mean, we don't know where this telemetry data ended up.
Back then we had computers the size of refrigerators that had less processing power than a modern toaster. And today we have 3D printing advanced robotics. But yeah, let's act like the blueprints for the Saturn V rocket were just drawn on a napkin and thrown in the trash. NASA's budget is $25 billion a year,
Wow.
so where is all that money going? What do you think? Does it sound like we won't or we can't?
The reason they haven't gone back is because they never went.
This just won't be the scariest thing you see this week. It will be the scariest thing you maybe see in your entire life. This is your official warning. You may want to keep scrolling. This video was sent to me by one of my followers, and it literally gave me chills. Watch it, let me know in the comments what you think. Is it a hoax? I'm not so sure about this one. If you have any evidence you'd like to share, my email's in my bio. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. God bless. Watch this.
¿Qué quiere?
What? Why don't people turn their lights on? What? He is Mulay Hassan, the Crown Prince of Morocco.
Now this is gonna blow your mind, guys. And if you have this eye color, you're probably gonna say, I wish I didn't have it. But anyway, the last one is hazel eyes or mixed eyes. So Carl says these people are shapeshifters. Hey, if you are part of the 1% out there that has hazel eyes, because he says not that many people out there has hazel mixed eyes, but he says that these people have multiple soul contracts and have lived many lives. Here's the positive thing. Their sole mission is to break limiting definitions.
I don't think so.
Lucifer wasn't responsible for leading worship. He's not just a fallen angel who was part of God's choir. He was a lawyer who was a member of God's heavenly courts. If you ask most people what Lucifer's job was before he fell, they'll probably say that he was the angel in charge of leading worship. But the thing is, he wasn't. People only speculate that he was because of one verse, Ezekiel 28, verse 13, which mentions that God prepared musical instruments for him on the day that he was created. But apart from that, there's nothing that suggests that he was responsible for leading worship. But there is something else that Lucifer was in charge of. Let me tell you what his job was. His name, Lucifer, comes from two Latin words. The words lux, meaning light, and fere, meaning to bring. And when you put these two words together, it means light bringer. So according to the meaning of his name, he was supposed to bring light. Or to be more specific, he was supposed to bring things to light. But the question is, what kind of things? Now, when you read the Bible, you'll notice that every time this character appears, he's almost always doing the same thing. In Genesis, he tempted Adam and Eve. In the book of Job, he accused Job. In the book of Zechariah, he tried Joshua, the high priest. And in the Gospels, he even tested Jesus. But you also notice that in all of these instances, it doesn't refer to him as Lucifer. He's referred to as Satan or the devil. So does that mean that his name isn't Lucifer? No. His name is Lucifer, but Satan and the devil, on the other hand, are not names. They are titles. In other words, they describe what he does. Just like when you see a pilot and you address them as captain, captain isn't their name, it's a title. Satan or Satan isn't his name. It's a Hebrew word that means prosecutor, which is a legal title. To put it simply, a prosecutor is a lawyer whose job is to uphold the law and to charge people who break it. That's why the devil is skilled at building arguments against us, especially when we disobey what God said, because it was his job. Lucifer wasn't responsible for leading worship. He's not just a fallen angel who was part of God's choir. He was a lawyer who was a member of God's heavenly courts, and not just any lawyer. He was heaven's chief prosecutor. That's why he was held to such high standards. Ezekiel 28 verse 12 says he was the signet of perfection, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. And verse 15 mentions that he was blameless when he was created. Why? Because his job demanded that he be beyond reproach, especially since it was his job to bring to light the sins of others and prosecute them before God.
No wonder he accuses us and reminds us of our sin every time we try to get closer to God.
There's a tactic that all intelligence operatives learn, and it's called elicitation. You use statements instead of questions to get the most powerful information from other people. When a person's being asked a question, it raises a little door in the brain that says, I need to be careful about the answer. If you're responding to a statement, your brain does not have that little security guard that comes out. And so as a light example, let's just imagine you and me took an Uber to get here. And let's imagine you and me we're going to take an Uber back. We get into that Uber and I say, I just read online that Uber drivers were rated the #1 job satisfaction of all the jobs in the country. And I just said a statement, and he's going to turn around and go, what? Where did you see this? So that starts a conversation. And then he says, no, it's really bad. I do this, and they take the money and this. And then I do disbelief. This is another technique. Disbelief says, no way. There's no way that company would treat you like that. He goes, oh yeah, you will never guess what happened just a couple of weeks ago. And then he just kind of goes into this deep story that he would never tell another client. Who does he tell these stories to? Friends. I've made his brain start behaving in friend mode, and I haven't even asked any questions yet. And then let's say he goes into a story, and then I say, my neighbor's daughter started driving for Uber, and she said she saw the wildest things happen in her backseat. And then you're going to hear a story again. And I have not asked any questions. And the way that I teach this is, if you and I are standing at the grocery store and there's a young lady over there stocking fruits, and I say, all right, Leon, you've got 60 seconds to go up to this person and find out how much they make for a living. And you're not allowed to ask any questions. So if I went over to her and I said, hey, I'm trying to find the baby carrots, and she starts walking me over somewhere, haven't asked a question yet. That was a statement. And then I say, I just read on LinkedIn that you guys got bumped up to $22 an hour. That's unbelievable. That's great. Congratulations to everybody here. That's amazing. And she goes, what? We only make $17.50. Everybody does. I avoided that social barrier because there was no question being asked. A different way to do this is called quotes, facts, and figures. And you deliberately say, I saw a YouTube video, read an article, did something that said X, Y, and Z, and it triggers a need in the human brain that's almost irresistible. And it's called the need to correct the record. And the next way we do this is just making what's called a provocative statement. So let's say I asked you what you do for a living, and you say, well, I make YouTube videos. Now I'm starting this new podcast thing, and it's been interesting. It's been a good career change. And I say, wow, YouTube, that has got to be challenging. And then it starts coming out. It's like people can't resist. And then let's say you said, well, yeah, it's challenging. We did this, and monetizing and YouTube language and whatever else. And I said, I cannot imagine what that is. That's got to be really stressful. It's got probably keeps you up at night. And then just, when I'm editing videos, and then let's say you just talked about editing a video, and I said, editing videos. And then you would keep talking.
It's called gaslighting.
This little door is one of the most important in the country. It is thought to be the oldest door in Britain, located near the chapter house of Westminster Abbey. Now, using dendrochronology, we know that the wood came from a single tree, probably from Essex, and rings on this wood show that the tree was growing between the years 924 and 1030. So this is 1,000 years ago. The door was constructed sometime in the 1050s during the reign of King Edward the Confessor, who built the first stone church here. So this makes it not only the oldest door in the country, but also the only one from the Anglo-Saxon period. So think of the people who might have glanced this door over the years. There's every chance that when William the Conqueror was crowned here in 1066, he might have walked past it or even pushed it open.
All right. How is it not rotting?
Oh, Pakistan may have just built the strangest bus in the world. It's known as the triple-decker luxury bus, and they've converted this lower luggage section into first-class cabins, and they've even fitted the units with car doors. Now, not only do these cabins come with couches, a personal TV, Wi-Fi, and a telephone, but also you've got your own personal fridge to help you get through the 10-hour journeys in the intense Pakistani heat. And to be fair, even the lower classes are pretty fancy as well. They have carpeted floors, similar lazy boy chairs, curtains for privacy, and personal TVs as well. Now, not too sure Ferrari's gonna approve of this one, but they even plastered their logo right on the front, just as an added touch of luxury.
What about the toilet?
A 75-year-old Australian millionaire has been rescued from poverty in rural Thailand after his wife blew through his entire fortune on meth. Marcus Owen was left with just $47 to his name after his Thai wife, 45-year-old Fikul, allegedly spent his $189,000 life savings and pension feeding her drug addiction. Owen, who lost his leg in a car crash, was living in a remote village and sleeping on a mattress on the floor when his story went viral. Fikul was taken to rehab after suffering hallucinations, but later returned to demand a divorce right in front of local officials and media. With no money for a flight home, Owen's situation seemed hopeless until Sydney mum, Supatra Nisanov, saw his story online and paid for his airfare home. He's now on his way back to Australia with support from Aussie diplomats and locals who stepped in to help.
I'm sorry, but, you know, what did he expect?
So Rick Owens' house is trending online. This motherfucker look like a Batmobile castle straight out of a Marvel movie. That bitch in the middle of the ocean with a getaway boat. Dark energy surrounding the home. If you ever seen this nigga himself and you think he look evil, take a look at his wife. That motherfucker look like, if nobody never told, if they say who's the most satanic looking person in the world right now, I would have to give it to Rick Owens' wife. That motherfucker looks scary, creepy, and she go exactly with his house. But this shit is crazy, though. It's hard now, don't get me wrong, it's dope, but I wouldn't live here. Bitch in the middle of the ocean. Look creepy as hell. Hard now, don't get me wrong, luxury. Nice. Look at this shit. Imagine being this bitch by yourself, though. Like, your family and friends, motherfuckers ain't even coming in this shit like that. Like, you performing a ritual, your ass go to this crib. Damn, that shit nice. But I just couldn't see myself living here.
Rick Owens' wife is a witch.
Egypt, off the coast of Alexandria. Take a look at this. Remnants of a 2,000-year-old city lifted out of the sea and into the 21st century. The ruins include statues and buildings that may have served as homes and places of worship.
The British Museum was like, it's mine.
You know that there is a 140-day cruise around the world for only $17,000? The journey begins in San Francisco, heading west to Hawaii, then drifting across the Pacific Ocean to Pitcairn. After that is French Polynesia, then Samoa, Tonga, Fiji, Vanuatu, and then down to New Zealand. The next stop is Sydney, Australia. Papua New Guinea is the next destination, then head north to Tokyo, Japan. Then you go down to China, followed by Hong Kong, head south to Vietnam, then Singapore. The cruise then crosses the Indian Ocean to Sri Lanka and India, then to the Maldives in South Africa.
Nice.
Then it goes through Namibia and Cape Verde and Casablanca, then crosses the Atlantic Ocean to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. After that, it goes down to Tobago, then crosses the Panama Canal to reach Costa Rica. Then it heads toward the final stop, which is the starting point, San Francisco. Imagine you step on board, leaving behind the pressures of everyday life. Each day is a different sea view, a different country. This will be an incredibly interesting experience.
Cheaper than rent, to be honest.
This is the complete family tree of demons. You're going to be shocked when you see how many different types of evil spirits are mentioned in the Bible. But in order to understand where they came from, we need to start at the very beginning. Before God created the humans, he created the sons of God. These were divine beings who were made up of at least 3 different categories, like the Watchers mentioned in the book of Daniel. I personally believe that the Watchers are the key to understanding the origin of most of the demons in our family tree. But the category you're probably most familiar with are the angels, like Michael the Archangel. The term angel just means messenger, and they were tasked with delivering important information to mankind, like the angel Gabriel, who showed up at Mary's house to announce she was going to give birth to Jesus. But these creatures here, called the cherubim, are the key to understanding the origin of one evil spirit you've probably heard of before. Anytime these creatures are mentioned in the Bible, they are always surrounding God's throne and praising him, like the living creatures mentioned in the book of Revelation and Ezekiel. And these things look crazy. They're usually pictured as animal-human hybrids with wings. Ezekiel even tells us that he saw 4 of these living creatures, accompanied by strange-looking multi-eyed wheels. The appearance of their workings was, as it were, a wheel in the middle of a wheel, and their rims were full of eyes, all around the 4 of them. And these wheels moved with the living creatures. Some scholars believe that these multi-eyed wheels are part of God's throne and represent God's ability to be everywhere and see everything all at once. There are also the seraphim, who the prophet Isaiah saw surrounding the throne of God. And of course, they had a bunch of wings and eyes as well. But this is the only time seraphim are ever mentioned in the Bible. At least, that's what I thought. Turns out the word seraphim actually appears 2 other times in the Bible, but those times are clearly referring to venomous snakes. This has led some scholars to believe that the seraphim had the appearance of a snake. Archaeologists have even discovered ancient Israelite seals that have snakes with wings on them. With this in mind, take a look at another creature called the anointed cherub. This was one of God's most beautiful creations who had the appearance of many precious stones and even had the ability to create incredible music. The Bible says that he was in Eden, and when we read the book of Genesis, this creature is also called a snake, until he sins and becomes the most famous villain in the world, Satan. But believe it or not, Satan was just the first of many different kinds of evil creatures, like this one here, Azazel. He was a spiritual being that's mentioned in the book of Leviticus when Moses and the children of Israel were wandering in the wilderness. We'll get to what Azazel was doing in this ancient desert in a moment, but because he's mentioned in the Bible as an evil spirit, you gotta wonder how he became so evil. The truth is that the Bible doesn't tell us, but ancient Jewish tradition does, which is why I'm going to place a question mark next to him. There are many ancient Jewish texts that are not in the Bible, but can give us an idea of how ancient people thought about these crazy Bible stories. Like the ancient Israelites believed that Azazel was one of the leaders of the Watchers who led some of them down to earth to do something that was an abomination to God. Now, although the Bible doesn't specifically mention that their leader was Azazel, or even that the Watchers were the ones who rebelled, the Bible does tell us that some of the sons of God did rebel. The Bible says that they broke the barrier between heaven and earth without God's permission by doing the unthinkable. These divine beings made babies with human women. The Bible says that these angelic human baby hybrids became giants on the earth who began to violently rule the world. Tradition even says that they were cannibals, but the rest of the ancient world thought that these guys were heroes, not villains. Like the Mesopotamians and Egyptians believed that their ancient kings were also birthed by the gods. But while the Mesopotamians and Egyptians celebrated their divine warriors and praised them, the Israelites called them Nephilim, meaning fallen ones. This was one of the reasons God put Noah and his family in a giant boat and flooded the earth.
This is a cool clip, but I thought I was about to watch a Demon Slayer video.
Device that can see demons and other entities in our realm. Let's talk about it. So there is a scientist by the name of Daniel Melms, and he created a device that can see entities and anomalies all around us, and took pictures of it. Right here you can see there's different pictures of what he captured. So how does this work? It uses quantum mechanics, electromagnetism, and it uses anomalies. Now, what are the anomalies? The anomalies are these different images that you see here. These images don't appear anywhere else in the film. So you can clearly see that they're here. And we've been always talking about battling a spiritual war. These might be the entities that we're actually battling against, and he was actually able to capture them. So when we're talking about, whether or not other entities are around us, he captured them on film. And we talked about the other goggles, the diacyanin goggles, in the other episode. And you guys were like, what's the other device? What's the other device? Here's the other device right here. So my question to you is, do you believe that we're able to capture these demons and other entities on film? What can we do about it? Are we able to become like Ghostbusters? Or is this just another myth, and Mythbusters should come and try to bust it? What do you think? Put your comment in the comments section. Locked on Universe out. Peace.
Instead of focusing on demons, focus on the only true God, Jesus Christ.
The nasty smell hit the ambassadors like a wet slap in the face. It was so strong and awful, they started gagging before they even got near the throne room. Think of the worst smell you've ever come across, like a dead animal rotting in the sun mixed with rotten eggs and a blocked toilet. That's what King James I of England smelled like, and that was him on a good day. This is the same guy who gave us the King James Bible that millions still read today. But the truth? He hadn't had a real bath in years. His tongue was too big for his mouth, so he was always drooling.
No way.
And his clothes, covered in lice. People at court said you could actually see the little bugs jumping around like they were having a party. And the craziest part? He wasn't even the worst one. Things are about to get a whole lot nastier. Absolute power doesn't just corrupt, it melts people's brains. In this episode, we're counting down 11 royal rulers with habits so bizarre, so disgusting, and so completely insane. You'll be glad you're not wearing a crown.
Where is the source for this?
Let's ease into the madness with number 11, Charles VI of France. And believe it or not, he's actually one of the less crazy ones on this list. Charles had something called glass delusions. He truly believed his entire body was made of glass. If someone touched him, he thought he'd shatter into tiny pieces like a wine glass dropped on stone. This wasn't just a passing thought, it was his full-time reality. He walked carefully, step by step, like every movement might crack him. He had special iron rods sewn into his clothes to protect him from breaking, and no one, absolutely no one, was allowed to touch him. He even sat down in slow motion, terrified his bones might splinter. And get this, sometimes he'd forget he was even king. A servant would knock and say, "Your Majesty, the council is waiting," and Charles would blink in confusion. "Council? What council? Who am I?" "You're the king, sire." "Oh, right." And here's the really strange part. This glass madness wasn't just Charles. Back in the Middle Ages, several nobles believed this kind of thing. They called it...
Okay. Yeah, once again, where is the source for this?
People are just finding out about the most dangerous movie ever made, and I guarantee it's not what you think. This movie was never even finished because every single actor in it died. Atuk was actually a comedy movie based on an Inuit man who just moved to New York and was adjusting to his life. Seems harmless, right? But it gets disturbing when they started casting the lead role. First of all was a comedy legend, John Belushi, who was cast as the lead starring role. Only days after receiving the script, he was found dead from an overdose.
No way.
Next up was actor Sam Kinison, who actually begun filming this movie when he then died in a car crash a couple of days later. Still a coincidence? Well, then shortly after, John Candy Cabe started filming and a couple of days later died from a heart attack. Chris Farley then came on and actually managed to get quite a way through the filming before then dying from an overdose again. And then one of the craziest parts is they finally cast this guy, Phil Hartman, who then was actually murdered shortly after the filming begun. While there is genuine documentation that this film was real and these things did actually happen, but it remains almost a crazy urban legend in the field, and do you think it's a coincidence or something much more?
Wow.
The man whom the giants begged for mercy. According to the ancient book of Enoch, the Nephilim giants born of fallen angels and human women began to have dark dreams. Visions of fire, judgment, and destruction. Among them were Odious and Gilgamesh, towering leaders, feared even by their own brothers. They knew something terrible was coming. God's judgment was near. In desperation, they sent Mogwai, a giant with wings, to fly up to heaven in search of the only man still walking with God, Enoch. Mogwai found Enoch, and together they descended once more before the giants. There, the most powerful beasts on earth knelt and pleaded with him. Enoch, pray for our lives. Our dreams are storms, and we feel destruction is near. Speak to God before it's too late. Enoch ascended again and brought their plea before the Most High. But the answer was unyielding. The flood would come, and nothing could stop it, not the cries of the giants, nor the tears of the watchers. Because when heaven speaks, not even the mightiest can escape.
This is cool.
Nefarious that's the real way they are.
It's like you walk in and you say, I want, or something sort
The
of
demons
attacks you.
are very much like lawyers. So they know the law. They understand the way God's providence is set up. They know how far they can go, and they know how far they can't go. And probably the best witness of how they operate in any movie ever made or documentary is Nefarious. Nefarious that's the real way they are. They're very patient. They don't need to be jumping in at the first crack. They get you to consent to the first little thing and then the next little thing, and all of a sudden you're saying, sure, come into me.
Yeah.
Because you think it's not real, because all this way you're fine.
They're conditioned.
And then when the time is right, then they do.
We had Chuck and Carrie, the producers of Nefarious, on the show, talking about they had an exorcist on staff for the film and movie. It's wild, actually. They had some kind of crazy amount of salt and holy water sent out, and like the very first day on set, the exorcist gets violently ill and almost dies. And they're filming the show at a quote haunted prison. Very familiar with that having talked to Chuck.
I don't think we've
Carrie.
talked to anyone who's made a movie except those guys, really. But I thought they did a really good job. I thought it was really a tough film to make because it's just basically a conversation
in one room. But it was compelling.
Sean Patrick Flanery was
so compelling.
Yeah, because I thought they did it. That's great to hear, because I thought they did a really good job. Some of our listeners were like on the fence, like, should I watch this? Should I not watch this? But I think that
no, if you want to see how, when I first saw it, I saw it about 4 times. The first time I saw it, I think they sent it to me to preview, and I looked at it, and when it ended, I thought, I can't believe they got this made, because this is showing all his secrets.
So they said they had like incredible things.
It was
happen.
very difficult to get made.
They had voices coming out of couches, and I mean, people getting ill, and
technology
things
problems.
breaking, tech breaking.
Nefarious is a criminally underrated movie. Watch it. It's really good.
The only giant who found favor with God, not all giants defied God. There was one, only one, who, when the world was falling apart, chose to bow down, not out of fear, but out of faith. His name was Mahwai, son of fallen angels, born into a doomed world. While his brothers ravaged the earth and raised their fists against the sky, Mahwai set himself apart, kept silent, did not destroy, did not blaspheme. He lay down beneath a solitary tree and wept, because, though he was a giant on the outside, inside his soul still heard the Creator's voice. Then he heard a name, Enoch, the man who walked with God, and he understood there was still hope. Mahwai knelt in the ruins of a corrupt world and whispered, I cannot change my origin, but I can choose my ending. And then the sky grew dark, the clouds roared, it was time. Judgment descended from above, the waters began to fall, and Mahwai, instead of running, remained still, kneeling, accepting his fate. And though no one on earth noticed, God saw him. His obedience was not forgotten. It was recorded in heaven as proof that even among the fallen, one chose to do what was right.
No giant found favor with the Most High God.
There's a talk about souls. They were interested in our soul somehow. How do we have a soul? How does this container hold a soul? That was a strange conversation. I thought, man, that's just weird stuff people talk about on this base.
Well, that is critical. This is the most critical of all the subjects that you have mentioned. Can you describe where you were and who you were talking with or listening to about the containers and the souls?
I was sitting outside of my office, smoking a cigarette at the table with all the guys from the 732nd, the communication guys, that listen to people talk. There was a couple of officers there. There was a first lieutenant and a second lieutenant, and then I believe there was a lieutenant colonel. They were talking about how these beings from other planets were interested in our soul. How did our soul get in our body, and how could they extract our soul? How did it fit? Could they move the soul to another vessel? Stuff like that. It was like, it was crazy, but I just listened, and it started to make some sense that these beings from other planets are interested in our soul. And how is it in the container? And they could repair our containers and do all kinds of stuff to us, but they couldn't get our soul. They wanted to know how to capture the soul.
And the person telling this knew this information because why?
Because he worked in the Cunilla Tunnel, and he was one of the officers that listened to otherworldly communications, and he had, I think it was 18 years of service in intelligence. So when you get to a certain level of intelligence, you've already been around the block and been a lot of places. So he knew firsthand that they were looking to find out how to get our souls out of our body, if they could capture our soul. It was very interesting to them.
And did this person who was talking, who was working in the Cunilla Tunnel, say that that implied that the humanoids in charge of the Greys and the ones that had made these 4 experiments of standing up primates, of which we Homo sapiens sapien are the 4th, that those humanoids do not have souls?
Didn't say anything like that, but you know what? It made you wonder, how are they so interested in our soul? I don't know. He didn't say. He just said they were extremely interested in our souls, and that this was an Earth school. We were on an Earth school. Our souls were in school. Somehow this is where our souls came to learn. And they wanted to know how to get our souls, for the knowledge of the souls, or something that we've learned in this lifetime.
That we're containers. That's how supposedly the aliens look at us. That we are nothing but containers.
Containers of?
Containers.
My soul belongs to God.
What's that? Oh, a group of people that were testing new AI glasses went to a nearby zoo in San Diego, and what they saw completely freaked them out. Tell me more. Yeah, this group of researchers were testing out these AI glasses to just verify that they're working properly, that they can identify animals, give you information about them, things like that. This is where it gets a little bit eerie, because when they looked at these animals, such as they were looking at a tiger, it did not look like a tiger. It looked, what they said, like some sort of weird demonic creature. And then they were asked the AI, what am I looking at? And it identified it as a scary demonic creature. Okay. The AI responded, this does not look like anything from Earth and looks like something from the spiritual realm, which you are now looking at. I love that. But the way that this creature was looking at them freaked them out, and it started to move slowly closer to them. So they left the zoo in a hurry. Oh, goody.
Okay.
Day the sun stood still. All right, so in the book of Joshua in the Bible, the Israelites were fighting the Amorites, and it says in Joshua 10 verse 12 through 14, it says, sun, stand still over Gibeon, and you, moon, over the valley of Ajalon. And it says, quote, the sun stopped in the middle of the sky and delayed going down about a full day. What's more amazing is when this happened, 1400 to 1500 BC, there's different records from around the world of the sun standing still in China and in Egypt. But in Mesoamerica, the Mayans and Aztecs, they talked about how the night never ended, and they're all freaking out, so they decided to do all these mass sacrifices and stuff. But yeah, then in Egypt, this one was actually crazy. They said that the sun changed erratically in the sky, so it was setting in the west and then stopped and then started going backward. But the proof of the sun standing still in the Bible was accounted for by different cultures around the world.
Think about the record, though. The other religions and regions were thrust into confusion by the narrative. The biblical account is the reason.
Yeah.
So the Pentagon actually confirmed for once the video of the pyramid-shaped UFOs caught off the Navy vessel. So you're going to see, I'm going to show you the video on here, but it's basically, it's in the night vision. And they released it and it was all over, and I was kind of like, okay, you know, we have a lot of videos, we do, because there was footage from a year ago and then 2 years ago also from a Navy vessel, and that just kind of got buried. But the Pentagon has consistently been going on and on about there's no evidence whatsoever of any of this stuff. We see nothing. There's nothing going on. Everybody shush. So I don't show very many videos, UAP videos. They're all over the place. There have been some really good ones coming up lately, so I am going to put those up because they're pretty intriguing. But this one I found, and I just feel like this is a step in the right direction. The fact that they actually confirmed that this is a real video that they captured. Plus, it looks pretty cool.
Pentagon says it. It must be true.
This video is going to absolutely blow your mind, guys. What you're looking at right here are 3D printed sound waves. This is just a picture made by Frequency Sound and Light, the study of cymatics, and it's made by this guy up here, an absolute genius. Now, Nikola Tesla said himself, if you want to know the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. He knows that this is the makeup of our reality. Watch what happens when he puts all of these pictures together, guys. Unbelievable. What? Watch this. As he overlaps these pictures, you get a perfect image.
Ooh, a baby.
Of a baby child. Everything in this reality is frequency, vibration, and energy, including us. It's all sound. It's all frequency.
No way. That's so cool.
Tesla knew this, and we're starting to get closer and closer and closer to discovering the true nature. This is what it is. Unbelievable stuff. Make sure you go follow this guy. Absolutely amazing work. I love you guys. Peace and love.
All its energy, frequency, and vibration.
The only fallen angel who was forgiven by God.
No way.
His name is Sariel, and his story appears in the ancient book of Enoch. When a group of 200 angels, called the Watchers, descended to earth and broke God's commands, they were punished and imprisoned until the final judgment. But Sariel was not like them. He also descended, but when he saw what the others were doing, he withdrew. He did not join their rebellion and, with humility, asked God for forgiveness. And God, who is just and merciful, heard him and forgave him. While the others remained trapped, Sariel was restored. Later, Enoch saw him again, not as a fallen one, but as one of the 7 holy angels who stand before the throne of God. In his vision, Enoch describes him this way, and the 4th angel is named Sariel, and he is in charge of the spirits of those who have failed. God not only forgave him, but also gave him a new mission, to watch over and guide those who have made mistakes but still have hope. His story shows that even in the midst of judgment, God can lift up the one who chooses to return to him.
I don't know.
Please watch this video. It's really important, and I feel like I'm risking it all by posting this, and all of my accounts are getting smoked as is. So please watch it and share it or save it or whatever. Send it to somebody that needs to see it. I've been researching to do a video on golden calves, and I've also been like including the red heifer, and then I was looking at other biblical animals. So I was looking at different stories about camels, and I just kept clicking. I landed on something from this, and I just had the weirdest feeling to copy and paste it and put it into Google Translate. It's important to note that the guy that wrote this book couldn't read or write. So a guy from the most powerful building in the world that is in Rome, has miles of archives of all of the information that we're not allowed to look at, wrote it for him and sent him back with it. So this is what the verse says that it says when you copy and paste the whole verse. Remember, this is just another fallen angel created pantheon type religion.
What?
Do they not look at the sun? Do they not look at the evidence? And just wait, it gets worse. Do they not look? Will he not look? He failed. He fell. This word shows up in the Hebrew Bible several times. Can you guess what it translates to? Mouse, rat, or disease. I have 2 other ones I need to show you guys, but I just want to say, if you are in this religion right now, Jesus Christ loves you so much. It is okay to come to him. He is God. He's not a prophet. I've been talking a lot about Revelation 12 and how that is not Mary, that is the of Babylon. Please watch this. It said, we put a sign, and Revelation 12 says, and then a sign. Been saying since like October and getting yelled at that is what the image of the beast will be, and that is what AI is. We guarded her chastity, and if you haven't seen my videos on this character is like the moon goddess. It's like Artemis and Miriam from... This is crazy, but this is really how their deceptions work. I find so much stuff in etymology. Yours sincerely, the state, the world. And I know I'm always on here smoking Catholics because I grew up being a Catholic, so I know how corrupt and how wrong their theology is. Remember that they gave the book to him. In their book, they glorify Mary. They say that she didn't have any sin, or like that she was like perfect, and that she herself said that Jesus never died on the cross. So put that together. They wrote the book for them, and that's what they wrote in this book. Jesus Christ is the only way, the only truth, and the only life. You cannot get to the Father except through him. Everything else is a deception, and I know because I used to be an atheist until I literally saw Jesus.
Today we are having the black moon, so say bye-bye to everything that want to leave your life. That includes family, friends, your business, anything that holds you back is about to leave. Every time we have a new moon, the matrix reset. Well, this is kind of different because we are having 2 new moons in 1 month. So everything in your life will manifest like this. So be careful how you think. This video is about to get a little dark and a little deep. Stay with me. They lied to us so much about the moon. It's not what you think it is. The people that control our reality work with the moon. The moon is the crystal ball or the magic eye in the sky. If you learn how to work the moon, you can change this reality or your reality. The black moon will make your manifestations happen like this, good or bad. But let's go a little deeper into this knowledge. We all know by now that the moon controls the currency and the energies on this planet. Anytime there's a full moon, people start going crazy. And when you had a new moon, you will notice that a lot of people are really drained. This is pretty different because the black moon represents the Black Mirror. You ever watch that TV show Black Mirror and they always predicting shit before it take place? That's because they look into the Black Mirror and they speak with interdimensional beings. People around the world been using black mirrors for a long time. The Black Mirror is connected to the spiritual world. You can actually look in the mirror and talk to different life forms. They will ask you, what do you want? And once they give you something, guess what? You have to give them something in return. So the black moon is really the Black Mirror. If you look into a puddle of water, you will see your own reflection. Water is the first mirror. But at nighttime, you will notice that the ocean is black. It turns into the Black Mirror.
Inside wigs, fleas and lice thrived. The fat went rancid, drawing maggots. Queen Christina of Sweden once removed her wig during a council meeting, and witnesses saw a river of lice spill down her scalp. She laughed and called them subjects who never abandon their queen. Wigs were rarely cleaned. Instead, they were dusted with powder made of flour mixed with lead. So on top of crawling insects and rotting fat, these women inhaled clouds of poison. One French duchess leaned forward at dinner, and maggots tumbled from her wig onto her plate. She calmly brushed them aside and continued eating. At night, wigs were set on stands, where rats came to gnaw on the fat and flour. In the morning, they were powdered again and placed back on infected, sore-covered scalps. The outer gowns, worth more than a peasant's house, were almost never cleaned. Instead, they were smoked over fires with herbs to mask the stench. Some gowns rotted right off women's bodies as the fabric decomposed.
That's crazy.
Others were laced with poison by enemies, soaked in arsenic or mercury that slowly seeped into the skin of the unsuspecting wearer. It became so common that queens hired dress testers, servants forced to wear new gowns first to see if they died. And then there were the holy women who embraced filth as devotion. Queen Isabella of Castile refused to change her underwear during the siege of Granada.
What?
For 8 months, her garments fused with her skin until they had to be cut off.
That's crazy.
She considered it a holy triumph.
What?
Saint Elizabeth of Hungary slept in her own waste. Saint Margaret of Hungary praised her lice as divine blessings. This wasn't insanity. It was celebrated as piety. And then came the Blood Countess, Elizabeth Bathory of Hungary. Legend says she murdered 600 girls and bathed in their blood to stay young. Imagine the reality. Human blood clots within minutes, turns brown, stinks of rot. Servants testified that they scraped her skin clean of congealed gore while the stench of rotting blood made them vomit. The fact people even believed these stories shows just how filthy and believable such practices were in a world where queens already bathed in milk, painted their faces with poison, and sat over burning feces.
Marco de Xerez. He was lucky enough to be the one who spotted the creature and grabbed it with his own bare arms, bare hands, got back to the car, put the creature in his lap, and took it to the hospital. 25 days after that, he died on February 15th of some bacteria attacks, proving that his immunodeficiency system was absolutely destroyed.
Wow.
Here's the one name that demons absolutely refuse to speak out loud. I'm not talking about obvious names like Jesus or God. This word is so powerful that even Satan himself goes silent when it's mentioned. Throughout history, exorcists have discovered there's a specific name that makes every demon tremble with pure terror. Why? Because this name holds more spiritual authority than any prayer, ritual, or holy water. Picture this scene: a possessed person writhing in pain, demons screaming through their voice, cursing everything sacred. But when this name is mentioned, absolute silence falls. Revolutionary War chaplains documented supernatural encounters where American soldiers called upon this mysterious word during impossible battles against overwhelming odds. Methodist circuit preachers during the Second Great Awakening recorded instances where demons fled from camp meetings when this sacred word was accidentally spoken during revival services. The shocking truth is this name was supposedly revealed to American prophets who never shared it with established churches. While traditional exorcists struggled with lengthy Latin rituals, frontier ministers discovered this single word could instantly cast out multiple demons. Seventh-day Adventist pioneers claimed demons appeared to them in visions, begging them never to research this particular name. Catholic priests in Spanish missions wrote encrypted letters describing how indigenous converts knew this powerful word before ever hearing Christian teachings. Modern charismatic churches report that demons have warned their exorcists that widespread knowledge of this name would trigger the final spiritual battle. Prosperity gospel preachers allegedly refuse to investigate this name because it challenges their theology about spiritual authority. The name itself seems to resonate with frequencies that exist beyond human understanding, but within divine creation. Do you know what name terrifies demons most? For part 2, comment the word America and hit every button.
Yahusha is the name above all names.
This is the Barabar Caves in India, and according to our fake history purported by the Matrix, this was all carved out by hammer and chisel. This solid granite, about 20 times smoother to the touch than today's day and age. This is what these structures look like, and they are designed very specifically to resonate and reverberate sound. Any sound made in these chambers can reverberate for up to 62 seconds. Listen to this. It sounds very similar to the reverberations of a sound bowl. Now, this is the original granite polish, mirror-like structures, perfectly symmetrical within a fraction of a millimeter, impossible for the human hand. The sheer complexity of these caves still stuns modern archaeologists to this day. There are inscriptions without any sort of clarity on construction or the timing of all this, or even the purpose of these caves. But the people of this land knew that these were sound healing caves built by a very advanced civilization by their ancestors. Look at how smooth to the touch this is. We can't even do this, guys. These anomalies in the Bora Bora caves make this an architectural and archaeological enigma. This is ancient precision built by a very sophisticated, advanced civilization. Just more evidence that our history is far from what we've been told. Peace and love.
I think they were far more advanced and intelligent than we are now. What do you think? What's up? What's up, doggy? Oh, the picture. Take it off. Why would you
Okay, so you guys
want to do that
here's how
anymore?
it all started. I bought her first.
Oh.
Did not realize her husband was sitting in the same Etsy store. So after she shipped, the shop owner messages me and is like, hey, I have her husband in my storefront too. And I figured maybe that's why my dog Georgia was barking at her. She was miserable without him, so I doubled down and bought him too. Or maybe I made her extra miserable by bringing him home. Although to be fair, Georgia unsparked at my son's reflection in a mirror. So maybe she's not like the brightest paranormal authority out there. She is a dog, and she's not the sharpest tool in the shed. I feel like this woman has a story to tell.
Look at that face.
You know? She just looks wise beyond. So I know you guys were not seeing
She looks creepy.
it up close, but I'm seeing like a good amount of kindness in her eyes. That tapping was my cat.
No.
He's clearly unbothered by these two. In fact, this is his spot that he likes to just chill in. And for context, I do collect antiques. My house was actually featured in Country Living magazine. I'm an artist, I paint, I do pottery, I tattoo, so decorating and making my home interesting is kind of part of my chaotic brain. So if you're into antiques and old world chaos, you can follow along on my Instagram. I'll link it right here. They both came from a farmhouse in the south of France. That's what the Etsy shop owner said. They were sitting side by side on a wall, which makes it even creepier that they ended up back together here. Before she looked downright miserable. But now that she's next to him, there's that little smirk, like he thought he was finally escaping her. And she's like, I said till death do us part, but what I really meant was for all of eternity, baby.
Let's start with this little cutie, Georgia. Now, I know Mom said she's not real bright, but she is intuitive, so let's give her that. And there's definitely a communication happening there. We'll get to why the woman in the painting is talking in the first place, because I don't even know why. But she's just saying hi and just like baby talking the dog like you do to a dog. It's just very sweet. But Georgia understands when something isn't in body. So when Mom referenced that Georgia will bark at her son's reflection, it's because Georgia, now I'm not saying this is for all dogs across the board, but for Georgia, she's recognizing that that isn't the physical person that she's used to. That's the best way I can explain what she's saying. Now let's talk about this woman. So the painting isn't cursed, but there was a curse cast so she would remain with her husband in these paintings. You following? So the owner of the paintings shouldn't have an issue. The curse was cast intentionally so that by this woman, like she did it to herself is what I'm trying to say. Like this wasn't someone outside coming in doing this. Like she cast this curse herself, including the husband. What did this poor guy do? He's just like, great. Now this. I'm not going to say their marriage was beautiful. I'm not feeling it. Disgruntled, forced. He did step out on her. And that's probably why this curse was cast by her. She didn't like his behavior. Only did it once, but she knew about it. And she knew about it because she was very intuitive. And she even knew who the woman was. And I don't even want to know what she did to the woman. This is why she cast a spell basically a curse keeping them together. I wouldn't be surprised if down the line we're hearing again from this family that maybe some weird stuff has gone on. So this will be a fun story to follow.
Why would you want to do that anyway?
These are the biggest river shrimp I've ever seen. And I ordered them deep fried. So first they clean up the shrimp, they took off the shell, snip off some of those extra legs, and then they go directly into the hot bubbling oil to deep fry. They continually splash it with oil until perfectly cooked. One of them takes up an entire plate.
Wow.
But hold on, they take that head butter juice, they reduce it down, and then pour it all over the giant shrimp. Oiling sauce goes over the shrimp head butter juices. Oh, wow. Oh, that's so orange. There's only one way to eat it. You have to pick up the entire thing. Oh, man. Oh, and the head is about to fall off. Okay, I'm pulling off the head. Oh, it just keeps on coming.
Goodness, it's so good.
Oh, it's never ending.
Ooh.
Oh man, so juicy and saucy and custardy. There's just no other way to eat it. You just have to dive in.
Man, I love Mark Wins. And whoever start farming this domestically is gonna print their own money.
You know, it's a certain group of people who own everything, and when you get to a certain level of influence, you can no longer be on the fence. And what I'm saying is, if I own everything, and your level of influence is getting to the point where you can put a movement together that can possibly break down my empire, you gotta go.
You gotta go.
Because it's business. This is what they say is business. So if you're hurting my pockets, and then you have enough to not only hurt my pockets, but start building your own empire like how I did, this world ain't big enough for the both of us. It's my world. That's how they look at it. And they own everything. And we don't fight against flesh or blood. We fight against principalities and rulers in higher places. The devil is the highest ruler. Under the devil becomes his pawns. And with his pawn, who runs this world? The devil. But okay, if the devil runs this world, then who else is running the world? In the physical. If the devil runs it in the spiritual, who runs it in the physical? I ain't even got to do all that. Just do your own research on who runs it in the physical. And then when you start saying, oh, they run it. Well, who else is rich? And who else is getting to this paper like them? Everybody who has influence, they ain't pushing Jesus.
Right.
They ain't pushing Jesus. You don't see Jesus on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You see sex, money, murder.
Yeah.
That's what you see.
Yep.
So why is the people who own everything pushing sex, money, murder? And why in the Bible does it say Revelation 3:9? In Revelation 3:9, why does it say that? You say, damn. Well, it's a certain group of people who own everything. And anybody who went against it, they died. Anybody who got a little bit of influence and push something opposite than what the people who own everything is pushing, they die. So why is that? Because Jesus is the real way.
Amen.
They're pushing the opposite of Jesus because they believe something other than Jesus. But Jesus is the only way.
Praise God.
Amen.
I am soaking up negative ions to your body.
What a perfect example of grounding.
What's in front of me is the world's largest standalone building by floor area. I know you're probably wondering, ooh, what about by volume? Then that would be Boeing factory in Seattle. But that's not something you can walk into every single day. So let's go ahead and explore the Global Center in Chengdu, China today. From the outside, this building is huge. So wide, you almost don't notice its height until you see the cars for scale. You might be surprised to know the Global Center was designed by the late Zaha Hadid, the legendary architect who defined modern buildings with her signature curves. Inside, it feels like its own ecosystem. There's a shopping mall, kind of mid, was the usual setup, and a massive water park that, when it opened, was the largest man-made indoor beach in the world. Surrounding the water park is the Intercontinental Hotel. Funny thing, it's only about 15 minutes walk from another Intercontinental where I stayed. If I'm not mistaken, these might be the two closest Intercontinental hotels in the world. Now that China's reopened to global tourists, seeing people from all over enjoying their summer here makes me smile.
Ooh,
and the
look at
fact
that.
that this building was completed almost 13 years ago and is only now being discovered by foreign tourists really makes you appreciate how far we've come. Follow me for more interesting stories about cities in China.
China has so many hidden gems.
What you're seeing and what you're not seeing is what's really interesting in this footage. So first is just the iconic shape, and I have to say it, but it's like the movie Nope.
Jeremy Corbell is an investigative journalist with a particular interest in UFOs. He and his mentor, George Knapp, obtained and then released this footage of a circular anomaly on their podcast, Weaponized.
No way.
Corbell says that he used AI to visually enhance the video for clarity.
We'll try to visually enhance the
AI?
videos. Because look, obviously there's some glare on the top. It must have been filmed on a screen with a light source around. I mean, this is not like the raw video.
I want to be very clear. I am not saying this is a UFO. Your own government, since this was filmed on the 23rd of November, 2020, labeled it UAP DISC, navigating through clouds. It was a reconnaissance platform near the border of Afghanistan and Pakistan.
CNN cannot independently verify Corbell's claims, and the U.S. Department of Defense declined to answer CNN's questions about the validity of the footage. But Corbell's previous work has been entered into the congressional record during hearings on UAPs.
This is the quintessential disc that I have always kind of heard about when I've been studying and looking at and working within government to try to get more information out and transparency on UAP. The second thing, other than shape, that really caught my eye was the distinct movement. If you're watching the original source footage, you can see the object moves to left of screen by your eye as you're watching it, and makes an abrupt turn to the right. It was, and appears to be, under intelligent control. The third thing, and the most interesting to me, is that if this is a craft of unknown origin, it can obviously make maneuvers, but it also must be propelled in a way unlike anything we are aware of in the public sphere or can make that I know of. There is no thermal signature. Everything works with action-reaction. Push something out the back and you go forward. From rockets to roller skates, that's how it works. The lack of thermal signature is haunting.
You lost me at AI, buddy.
There are certain people that to attain certain stature or certain level of influence or power, fame, whatever, you're required to either sacrifice a blood sacrifice, whether it be a mom or a relative or whatever, or transition one of your kids, because it's all worshiping their God, their false God.
Why are there so many people on the inside of like the film industry, the music industry, that all say the same thing? Why are there so many people that say for people to go higher up, there's a level of sacrifice involved? Different people, different stories, but a similar pattern of how the very top and elite get to that point in their careers. Now, I'm not saying it's true, it's up to you to decide. This is for entertainment purposes only. You know, the people who have won 4 Oscars and loads of awards, they're not going to come out and say they've done things like this. I want all the glory and plaudits to go to them. But one thing I do know is a strange culture around these people.
What about Caitlyn Jenner? Wonder who put her up for it? Maybe Kim or Kylie? Kylie is her name?
Let's talk about Cynthia Erivo.
Oh my goodness.
Do we really think it's pure coincidence that someone who literally played a witch from a movie titled Wicked and is ultra Hollywood ends up playing Jesus Christ right here? Let's roll one of the clips that stuck out to me.
This is...
When looking through the lens of discernment, you can clearly see what's going on, and it's another instance of Hollywood mocking it.
Yep.
Not to mention the fact that we fully know by this point that Cynthia Erivo is one of them. Quite simply, if you look at this transformation alone from her before Wicked and her after Wicked, it's obvious to see that something happened on that set. Very similar to the shocking transformation from Ariana Grande from before to after Wicked. In Ariana Grande's case, she also developed a different type of personality and was speaking softer and slower, and the whole thing was just creepy. This is just one of many, many examples of Hollywood telling you exactly what they stand for and putting it right in front of our faces, guys. Wake up.
Our Almighty God will not be mocked.
Imagine this. You wake up one morning, skip a shower for just 2 days, and already you feel sticky, smelly, uncomfortable in your own skin. Now imagine skipping not 2 days, not even 2 weeks, but 8 whole months, on purpose. That's exactly what Queen Isabella of Castile did. She wore her filth like a badge of honor, and here's the disturbing truth. She wasn't even the dirtiest one. We're taught to imagine medieval royalty as glowing figures in sparkling gowns, gliding through candlelit halls that smell of roses. Painters captured them looking pure, elegant, untouchable. But those portraits lied. Behind the jewels and gowns was something far darker. The truth is, the average peasant, washing in a muddy river once a week, was far cleaner than most queens. The servant scrubbing the palace floors had fresher skin than the woman wearing a crown. And today, I'm going to show you exactly what life really smelled like under those layers of silk, what was writhing inside those powdered wigs, why queens painted their teeth black on purpose, why one beauty treatment required lying in a tub of blood while maggots fed on the grease in her hair. By the end of this, you'll understand that royal treatment in the medieval world often meant rotting flesh, parasites, and faces literally falling apart. So let's start with something as simple as a queen waking up in the morning.
This is not right.
When sugar arrived in Europe in the 1500s, it was more expensive than gold. Only the royal elite could taste it. Queen Elizabeth I couldn't get enough. She ate sugared violets for breakfast, candied ginger between meals, and a treat called marchpane, which was basically pure sugar paste, for dessert. Here's what that diet did to her. By 40, her teeth were stained brown. By 50, they were black. By 60, many had rotted out. Ambassadors wrote that when she opened her mouth to speak, the stench was so unbearable they had to stand several feet away. A German visitor described it bluntly in 1597. He said her breath reeked like a rotting horse. But the strangest part? It became fashion. Court ladies saw her black teeth and thought, that's the look of wealth. So they painted their own teeth black to copy her decay. Some smeared soot, others...
Big publicist Jonathan Hay, who was a publicist for Rihanna, he's worked with Drake, he's worked with many different high celebrities, has just come out and said that Jay-Z is gay.
What I do know for a fact, not alleged, but DJ Khaled is bisexual, and Jay-Z has also participated in bisexual activities.
Would you want to say allegedly? For your safety?
There's no, I would say allegedly, if it was allegedly. DJ Khaled, 100%, has been involved in... He's bisexual. I did a show called One Shot, and he was in Miami, and he was open with the guy that he was with. He was gay, and I don't understand what happens there where, because nobody said anything to me like, hey, make sure you don't, go out and say this on record. Make sure you don't say this, da-da-da-da. So it's weird that would still be hidden. That seems like that should be a fact that DJ Khaled, at least in 2016, was definitely bisexual.
Okay, and we're good.
And Jay-Z is without question bisexual.
Okay. I agree with you.
People just coming out of everywhere, huh? I said it not too long ago. Jay should have never put the Lord Jesus Christ in his song, talking about he can't save you. You don't mock God. You don't come after God. God is God. May the Lord continue to shed light on darkness.
Hollywood is built on satanic ideology.
In 1881, a photograph was taken that should have been destroyed immediately. A young Hungarian actor sits in an ornate chair while the King of Bavaria, one of Europe's most powerful monarchs, stands beside him like a servant. In royal protocol, this was beyond scandalous. It was impossible. A king never stands while a commoner sits. The only reason this photograph could exist is if that commoner was something more than anyone was supposed to know. When copies reached Munich, ministers who saw it understood immediately what it revealed. This wasn't just a breach of protocol. After 2 decades of carefully orchestrated deception, the king's most dangerous secret was suddenly visible to anyone with eyes to see. And that single photograph would set in motion a conspiracy that would end with 2 bodies floating in a lake, a fisherman paid for his silence, and a mystery that Germany still keeps classified documents about to this day. You know Ludwig II as the Mad King who built Disney's castle, that fairy tale fortress called Neuschwanstein perched on a Bavarian cliff. 6 million tourists visited every year. But what they don't tell you on those tours is that every tower, every secret passage, every hidden room was designed for one purpose: to hide what was happening when the king reversed his entire life, sleeping all day and living only in darkness. Because Ludwig II had discovered something that would have destroyed him if it came to light. In darkness, he could finally love who he truly loved. This is the story of how one forbidden photograph exposed a shadow kingdom built on secrets, where a king who couldn't
known as Cruden Bay, Scotland. Today we're going to be visiting the ruins of a castle known as Slains Castle. And it was built right around the year 1600. About a 10-minute walk down this road will take you to the ruins of Slains Castle, high on a cliffside overlooking the North Sea. So we have to be careful because, well, you just have to see it. Now, the ruins of Slains Castle are a little extra special to the world of horror because you see, Bram Stoker, when he wrote Dracula, he actually wrote about a certain room inside the ruins of this castle. And we're going to find it. I don't think it's going to be too hard, but we're going to find it. It's the Octagon Room. Now, before we get down to the castle ruins, I do want to talk a little bit about Bram Stoker and his time here at Cruden Bay. You see, supposedly he came up here quite a bit and stayed in the area to write some of his books. I mean, it makes sense. There are 2 books where he actually mentions Slains Castle by name. And like I said, in Bram Stoker's Dracula, there's the Octagon Room. We're going to talk about all that in just a minute. But just being on this road, man, this is cool. We still have a little bit of walking to do, but from here, from the road, you can start to see the bones of the ruins sticking up from the ground through the mist. Now, baby girl, please be careful, but I can't wait to see the look on your face when you see this. This view is spectacular. Oh man. Right next to this view is a rather modern fence. And as we walk along it, it looks like the old driveway to Slains Castle actually curves along the coastline. You can see the walls right here. I'm sure we can walk that way. Or we're going to take the road this way.
I vote for the natural path.
Marco Elixerez. I can definitely see the inspiration to write a book of Dracula there.
He was lucky enough to be the one who spotted the creature and grabbed it with his own bare arms, bare hands, got back to the car, put the creature in his lap, and took it to the hospital. 25 days after that, he died on February 15th of some bacteria attacks, proving that his immunodeficiency system was absolutely destroyed.
What? Really?
So I've been listening to Mel Gibson was on Joe Rogan's podcast recently,
cool.
But he mentioned this story about the Pope. They had this ceremony where they brought in this wooden deity called Pachamama.
It's translated Mother God.
Yeah.
It's like a rainforest idol.
Which is interesting because we've talked about before the Amazonians and stuff. They make like ayahuasca, or ayahuasca. And they talked about that their Mother God is the one that taught them how to make this tea or whatever.
Yeah.
To be able to communicate with her in this other realm. To me, that's just like red flag. But bringing that idol into the Vatican was wild. October 21st, there's a Catholic man named Alexander, considered it a violation of the first 10 commandments. He stole it from the church and then threw it in the Tiber River. So he
got
just
angry and just grabbed it and ran to the river and threw it in.
Yeah, he said, this is an idol.
Yeah.
You guys have this idol displayed. And so he stole it and threw it in the river.
I kind of love that.
But then the Pope came out and he apologized for that. And then they got it out of the river and put it back on display.
I like how Mel Gibson responded to it. He was like, this is #1 on Moses' hit list.
Yeah.
Like, that's how he referred to it.
Yeah.
Yep. No idol.
Have you ever seen a modern countryside this breathtaking? Welcome to Jiangsu, China. Rows of modern houses stand neatly, blending perfectly with vast green rice fields that soothe the eyes. The atmosphere is calm, fresh, and peaceful, taking you far away from the noise of the city. Here, natural beauty meets modern comfort, creating a place where anyone would love to stay. It's the perfect escape for those who long to unwind and find peace from the hustle and bustle of urban life.
This fucking thing is a real-life shape-shifting demon in the form of a little girl.
allegedly, this mysterious girl is known as the Little Red Girl in Taiwan. And this is a true story. In 1998, a family went hiking on the Dakeng hiking trail in Taichung, Taiwan. And they recorded everything on their V8 digital camera for memories of this family outing. Unfortunately, a few weeks later, one of the family members passed on. And the family, wanting to find some solace, went back to review the footage. And this is when things started getting a bit weird. In the footage, the family member who passed on appeared to have large fangs like a demon. The family also noticed this little red girl trailing behind them. But everyone on the trip said that they did not recall a little girl in red following them or even being in their vicinity. So who was this mysterious red girl? I mean, somebody come and pick up their daughter lah. Why are you letting your daughter roam around this dangerous forest like that? This story was so big that a popular ghost program in Taiwan picked it up, and the editor for this program claims to have been haunted by this little red girl. While editing the program, he said that the girl would appear in certain footages, but when he looked back at the same footage, the girl would disappear. He was so afraid that he rushed home from the office. But later that night during his sleep, he was awakened by a loud bang in his room. He woke up and saw the little red girl sitting on his desk staring straight at him. I find it very fascinating when folklore crosses into real life. I mean, we have real footage of this little red girl. Let me know if you guys want me to make a full YouTube video trying to debunk this story. I'm gonna do more research on this.
Would be a good idea.
This is the Tartarian lady right there. I mean, this is the Tartarian lady right there holding, listen. There it is right there with the Haitian sigil, with the lions and everything, with the sword. There it is right. So once again, that's why everywhere you go in these so-called World's Fair, you find the lion and that lady. They belong to the Empire of Haiti. This is what they call as a Louisiana purchase. Did you hear that word? Now my question is this. How come the so-called Haitians are the one with the real Tartarian sigils everywhere? Explain this to me. How?
I don't know, bro.
Oh. Okay. So, I want one because they love claiming everything, but they cannot back it up with nothing. Prove it. That's the Tartarian lady face with the sun. There it is right there again. Prove it. Oh, they can't prove in shit. What a time to be alive, bro. What a time to be alive. I mean, my goodness. A golden machete. You see the fascists? You can go right now in Congress. You'll see Trump right there in the capital city. Look at the handle part.
Yep.
This is what they call the fascists. There it is right there. It's considered as Tartarian. This is Tartarian artifact. Every time you see Tartaria, you're going to see this instrument next to them. Look what it is. Haitian shit. God damn it, bro. Y'all not ready for me. How it's possible? Oh, yeah? I told y'all. Bring me to y'all leaders. Y'all not ready for this.
All right, calm down, buddy.
None of y'all. None of y'all. So this is what they've been trying to bury. This is what they've been trying.
I need all of you to go turn on this documentary right now. If you're into the supernatural, paranormal, dark magic, anything like that, this is for you. And believe me when I tell you that I had chills on me the entire watch of this documentary. This documentary follows a man named Liam, and he goes across the world asking the most powerful dark magic people to put a curse on him.
Crazy.
He's doing this because he wants proof. Proof of supernatural phenomena, gods, deities, whatever as you will. When he goes to ask these people to put a curse on him, they look at him like he's crazy. But this man is willing to do whatever it takes to have a curse done on him that will actually work. He wants to see if this is psychological or actual dark magic that occurs. There was some freaky stuff up in here, okay? He even goes as far as going to this cave where he makes a pact with Satan himself. That was the most chilling part to me. Even the statue of Satan freaked me out a little bit, all right? This is an extremely intense documentary, and it gets a 10 out of 10 from me. So let me know in the comments, would you do something like he did? Place a curse on yourself just to be reassured that there are supernatural powers out there? And also let me know in the comments if you'll be watching A Cursed Man. Follow for all things horror if you're new here.
You know, what if it curses everyone who watches it? Huh? Don't watch, people.